Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I, 50 male, married Donna, 49 female, 10 years ago. She has a son, Tom, 17 male, from another marriage. My wife passed away 15 years ago. I still have photos of her. They are stored at the basement of my house. I've never really had a paternal relationship with Tom. He has stated that I will never be more than his mother's boyfriend and should be happy about that. I have no wish to change our relationship dynamic. Recently, he has started acting out very frequently, and most of the times, his anger is directed towards me. I went on a business trip 3 days ago. While on the trip, my stepson sent me an image of a campfire with the caption, "Hope you are not mad at me when you return." I thought nothing of it. Today, my former sister-in-law called me and asked me for some pictures of my late wife. I went down to the basement, and to my surprise, the photos were gone. I called Donna and asked her if she had taken the photos. She got very pale and asked me to sit down and take some deep breaths because she had something to tell me. She then tells me that Tom burned all the photos that were in the basement while I was on the work trip. She was crying a lot when she finished, and I was too. The punishment. Tom is a great soccer player and insanely good defense. He has a pretty big tournament in 2 months that could potentially change his life, and Donna and him are counting on me to pay for all of his expenses. I decided I won't pay for that, and when he turns 18, I will stop paying for anything related to him. His birthday is in a month. Donna is now very mad at me for not fulfilling the promise I made. She says that I am ruining her child's future and is very stressed out because she doesn't have the money to pay for the trip. I'm starting to think that I am taking the nuclear option here and should punish Tom in another way. Not the a-hole, but I would be rethinking my relationship with the mother of the child. Also, she did not prevent it, neither did she inform you as soon as it happened. More likely, herself resented the picture still sitting in the basement. Most likely, son was acting out his mother's feelings, trying to make her feel better. No, he does not deserve the expenses you had previously promised. He did not respect you. You have no photographs of your dead wife. He destroyed it. Your wife is trying to minimize your pain. This is manipulative behavior. You should be taking a hard stand. Evaluate your relationship with your wife and her son. These are not good people. For context, my wife and I have been together for more than a decade. And that time, our family has been awesome. The only exceptions to this are my wife's paternal aunt and uncle. The two have a tendency to do really odd things and then act like it was normal. For instance, a few years ago, they stood up during the middle of a family dinner, raised their hands like a ref holding up a champion boxer's hand, and announced that they were moving to the lake before sitting down. No mention of which lake this was, no additional context, nothing. After what felt like an eternity as we all stared at each other awkwardly, my wife's father asked, "Which lake?" which prompted his sister to begin bawling her eyes out and screeching about how we weren't being supportive. More recently, my wife and I bought a house in the same city as her parents, and so for the first time, we decided to host Christmas. The grandparents and parents are getting old, and we thought it would be a nice gesture. We made sure to send the invites a month in advance, and followed up by text message with everyone who said they were coming. The only thing we asked was that people not bring their pets. My wife has absolutely terrible dog allergies, to her own dismay, as she desperately wants to foster a dog. And her aunt and uncle have a history of doing things like showing up with a literal pack of dogs they happen to be pet sitting, last minute for. The email was very clear on this. Cue Christmas Day, and my wife's aunt and uncle showing up 2 hours late with their brand new Mastiff. When I opened the door, the dog started going nuts and howling, while her uncle scolded it to stop. I tried to politely explain that this wasn't acceptable and that they needed to leave, but my wife's aunt started crying and screaming about how mean I was being. Eventually they left, but on the day of, and for the last few weeks since, I've gotten mixed reactions from family and friends. I'm not on Facebook, but apparently my wife's aunt made a long post about how we ruined Christmas by forcing them to drive for 2 hours for Christmas dinner, only to turn them away heartlessly because they didn't feel comfortable leaving their new dog at home alone. Our immediate family is supportive. Both of my wife's grandmas thought the scene was hilarious, apparently, and my in-laws thought it was nice to finally see someone stand up to the Looney Tunes duo. Their term, not mine. But think we should have found a way to allow them to stay, even with the dog. The other aunts, uncles, and cousins think we went too far and should have compromised somehow. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, so I have to ask, am I the a-hole? OP needs to ignore the aunts, uncles, and cousins. OP was clear, no pets. OP's wife's health is more important than other people's opinions. Depending on how bad your wife's allergies are, being around dogs and their hair could cause serious health problems. I would have done the same thing. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Plump Cedar says, not the a-hole. Those two sound like a real piece of work. Your house, your rules. If they can't respect a simple no pets request, they're the ones ruining Christmas. Auntie Drama and Uncle Oblivious need a reality check, not an invite. 122223 says, not the a-hole. Invitees who have not followed the instructions will be refused entry. That's all there is to it. You said no pets. They turned up with a pet. They're not getting in. Given their pattern of pulling stunts like this, I can only assume it's a sort of power play. The tears, too, an attempt to manipulate you into letting them walk all over you. You were right to stand your ground. I hope you threatened to call the police when they refused to leave initially. Now they're trying to round up their goons on social media to try to push you and intimidate you. You should absolutely not have compromised. That would have only emboldened them to try even more egregious things. Merlin Big says, not the a-hole. They brought a dog to a house knowing full well it was not allowed due to allergies. Inconsiderate and selfish of them. I'm 24 female, and I'm getting married in a few weeks. 7 years ago, my sister got married, and I was so excited. I talked to her about the wedding, what dress I'll wear, and if I could help her plan it. And she was always dismissive. And a few weeks before the wedding, she told me that it would be 18 plus. She said she wanted to exclude annoying kids and made this rule, and she can't make exceptions and all this crap. She also said I was too young for the adult atmosphere and whatever. My 18th birthday was a week after the wedding. I was devastated, and I begged my sister to let me come. I really wanted to be there and support her. My stepmom refused to go to the wedding as a result of that, and my dad almost divorced her over that, among other things. I eventually accepted it, and I told my sister that I would not invite her to my wedding. She scoffed and laughed and said I was being immature, and I'll forget about it. My fiance's dad owns a massive yacht company. They rent out yachts, make repairs, and sell equipment. The wedding party will take place on a yacht, which can accommodate 200 guests. She asked me about the wedding, and I flat out told her she wasn't invited. She said I was being petty and how hurtful I was, and that her reasons were justified, and it's in the past. To be honest, I feel she just wants to be on the yacht and not so much support me. I told her that she should have thought about that back then, and now she understands how I feel, and that she's only jealous that my wedding will be better than hers. My dad called me and said I need to stop being petty and invite her, and other family agree. I told them no, and after some arguing, they respected it. My sister is being a bee about it on Facebook. Edit. A friend suggested I should make my sister delete all the Facebook posts and write an apology letter saying why it was wrong to exclude me from the wedding. I think that's cringe, but what do you all think? Well, what comes around goes around. OP warned her 7 years ago. She doesn't get to exclude OP from her wedding and then expect an invite to OP's. OP's decision not to invite her sister is a consequence of her hurtful actions at her own wedding. OP needs to prioritize her own feelings on her special day. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Mini Godzilla says, not the a-hole. As the saying goes, karma is a bee. Your sister's flimsy excuse for not wanting you at her wedding has now caught up with her. Everyone would have understood if the younger sister had attended the wedding a week before her 18th birthday, even if others were excluded. Communication with your sister or other family members is not necessary. You decide who from your family will attend, and you have the right to be as vindictive as you want. By the way, kudos to your stepmother for standing up for you back then. Give her a special place of honor, and put your father, who has no backbone, somewhere at the cat's table. Hill McElson says, not the a-hole. She didn't invite you to her wedding when you were just a week away from turning 18. She might have created that rule just to exclude you. You're right. She probably only wants to go because it's on a yacht. She sounds like the type of sister who will try to ruin your day and make it about herself. Like, she might even try to use your wedding to renew her vows and take advantage of your party, since it will be better than her wedding. It's your wedding, so you should only invite who you want. In your position, I'd also uninvite the dad because I'm almost certain that he doesn't know how to take a no and will try to sneak your sister in behind your back. Do Laugh says, nope, not the a-hole. Who to invite to a wedding is always strictly up to the discretion of the bride and groom. It sounds as if you and your sister have never had a great relationship, and there's no reason to pretend otherwise on your special day. I, 24 male, getting married in June, and my dad was supposed to be giving a speech or toast at the reception, something he asked to do. I said sure. Figured if he wanted to do one, then why not? We weren't really planning any. Then my aunt sent me the speech he prepared, and it bothered me. He referred to his wife as my mom. She's been my stepmother since I was 8 years old, but I've never called her mom, and that has been a very sore subject between us all because I never gave her a mom place in my heart. I respect and care for her as my dad's wife and as a nice person, but they always hoped I'd see her close to a mom, if not as my second mom, since mine died a year before she entered my life. The whole speech was about him and my mom, aka his wife, and how they felt and dreamed about me getting married. The speech touches on how they were lucky to be my parents, and how I was lucky to have a mom like her, because she has been so amazing. It felt very much like a dig at me for not showing her that kind of love and appreciation, the mom stuff, and for choosing to do a special dance with my maternal grandma at my wedding instead of my stepmother. Dad found out my aunt had sent it to me, and he told me that he needed me to understand why he needed to shine a spotlight on her, because she deserved to be honored as a parent of the groom on the wedding day, and I was not giving her that recognition. I told him that she was not my mom, and the fact that he claimed her as my mom 21 times throughout the speech was a problem. He told me she's my mom in everything but blood. No, she never adopted me, but they don't consider that to matter. And she should get to be called mom at least once in her life when our relationship is talked about. I told him I did not want that speech read at my wedding. He told me it was not my decision. I told him he could no longer make the speech or toast since he would only read that. He's angry and saying I'm being controlling and behaving like a child. He said she deserves better, and he should be able to praise his wife and acknowledge how our family actually is, instead of living in the past and what it used to be. Am I the a-hole? Joe Fox 97 says, not the a-hole. First, it's your wedding. That day is about you, not them. Secondly, as a step-parent, a step never should take the place of a parent, unless the relationship builds that way naturally and both agree. When it's clearly being foisted on one of the parties, that's never going to work. Serena's Play Cousin says, not the a-hole. Have a trusted friend prepared to cut the mic if he gets anywhere near it. Make sure you have a photo of your birth mom on a memorial table. Please give your aunt the opportunity to make a speech if you want. Not the a-hole. You realize the speech is about his wife, not you, and think about how you want the relationship with him to happen going forward. Congrats. Inside Ranger 9084 says, not the a-hole, but your dad sure is being one. Make sure someone sober is lined up to run defense, and take the mic away if he, likely, tries to make his crappy speech regardless. My, 29 female, sister Ann, 30 female, has always been the golden child in our family. Our parents always went to her cheer competitions, but didn't care that I was a straight A B student. After high school, Ann met my now brother-in-law and had my niece, 7 female. Ann gives my niece everything she wants. In my opinion, this has turned my niece into a bratty, mean girl. She throws a tantrum if she doesn't get what she wants, and they always give in. Ann makes passive-aggressive comments about how I don't have a husband, and my niece has started imitating her. Every year, our friend Joe hosts a Halloween party. The party is for adults, but Ann always wants to bring my niece to do a family costume. No one says anything because she is so sensitive. The worst part is, she always wants to include me in the costume, but picks costumes that make me look bad. I think Ann is jealous that she used to be the pretty one, but she gained some weight after having my niece. One year, they were Scooby-Doo characters, and they made me dress up as the minor 49er. You get the idea. Last September, they were talking about SpongeBob Halloween costumes. Niece is a big fan. My niece said, Auntie should be Squidward because she's so skinny and grumpy. They all laughed and agreed that my niece would be SpongeBob, Ann would be Sandy Cheeks, and brother-in-law Patrick, and I would be Squidward. I came up with a plan. I said it was a great idea, and acted happy when Ann dropped off my costume. It was this green onesie she sewed and my brother-in-law's tan polo shirt. He's a big guy, so it was very unflattering. Meanwhile, her Sandy costume was a skin-tight white bodysuit with squirrel ears. Secretly, I prepared my own costume. I got a white crop top, brown booty shorts, thigh highs, and high-heel Mary Janes. I did my makeup to incorporate the SpongeBob color yellow. As a cheeky joke, I drew a heart tattoo on my arm, and in the heart it said Sponge Boob. Well, the day arrived and I showed up at the party in my costume. My niece started screaming and crying that I was wearing the same costume as her. Anne screamed I was traumatizing my niece by stealing her costume. I said SpongeBob is not her intellectual property, so they stormed out. After they left, my costume was a big hit. Lots of people complimented me on how creative and funny it was. I normally don't dress provocative, but I admit it felt good. The next morning, I woke up and had missed calls from my parents and our family friend Kevin, yelling how dare I upstage my niece. I calmly explained that Anne needed a taste of her own medicine, and my niece needed a reality check so she won't become a spoiled narcissist. Things calmed down, but Anne still won't talk to me. Not that I mind. She's been posting on Facebook about traitors and Benedict Arnold. Last week, she posted a picture of my niece at Disney World on Facebook with the caption, "If anyone hurts my sweet baby, they can catch these hands." Her post got a lot of likes, and now I'm wondering, am I the a-hole? Lane's Inconsiderate says, "Everyone sucks here. For duck's sake, how hard is it to just say no? I don't want to be in your family costume. I prefer to do my own thing." You knew this was going to blow up and cause drama. You wanted to hurt, punish, embarrass them. Your niece is spoiled, but she is still a child. Hurting her intentionally is not cool. You're nearly 30. Grow up. Your sister's an a-hole for raising a brat and intentionally insulting you with her costume choices for you. Golden Fingernail says, "Everyone sucks here. You and your sister have some serious sibling rivalry issues to work out. Your niece, brat or no, is becoming collateral damage to that rivalry. Not cool." Classic 68 says, "Absolutely not the a-hole. This was hilarious. You were 29 years old. Catering to a 7-year-old like that is nuts. You did exactly what was needed to put an end to that madness, and I cannot believe the family actually joined into that silliness and came down on you. There's going to be no hope for that 7-year-old, but you found your own voice this time around. Good for you."